I believe the saying goes that if you take someone that used to live in the 14th or 13th century, let's say going all the way back to the BC eras, if you were to take that person and transport them to the current era where we live right now, where you have phones, where you have iPads, you have flat screen televisions, you have computers, you have airplanes, you have trains and cars and so on, they would think that what we're doing and what we're using is essentially magic. And what we're getting now in these latest chapters of One Piece, 500 years out technology, Vegapunk looking like magic in so many respects. But it's not magic. No. There is no Harry Potter Wingardium Leviosa in sight. There is no Severus Snape breathing down your back. No, it's just knowledge. Tai Lopez style. Knowledge. That's all it is. And it is fantastical, and it is clearly busted as all hell. Where we have these gigantic sea beast weapons that could clearly destroy an entire fleet of ships by themselves with no issue. In of itself, this iron giant that Vegapunk 02, Lilith, what she's controlling is clearly very powerful and very impressive. Vegapunk 05 Atlas is in a hologram-based city and can actually punch holograms with these light pressure gloves, which Kizaru clearly would not want to be on the receiving end of. No! Nigerunda yo, Kizaru-san! Run! Because these things are scary. Being able to punch light structures themselves. And just the sheer fact that Vegapunk was able to take their consciousness and split their consciousness into 6 different beings somehow, some way, with potentially their own consciousness, the main Stella body, still existing. Very similar to how Law took the consciousness of Sanji, Nami, Chopper, and Frankie on Punk Hazard, and then he mixed and matched their consciousnesses into different bodies. Vegapunk is doing something like that, but on a far more sophisticated scale. And it's for themselves. Split. Tech is busted. And ultimately, the question now that folks have to once again re-envision is how powerful tech is in the world of One Piece. Is tech just as powerful or even more powerful than Haki or Devil Fruits? So tech, I think, is very, very powerful in the world of One Piece. I myself said for a long time that tech is underrated. I've done videos in the past talking about, let's say, for example, the Straw Hats, and how the Straw Hats, people like Frankie, or people like Robin, or folks like Brooke, they didn't necessarily need Haki to be strong in the world of One Piece, even going into the new world. Like, there's a good chance that someone like Frankie will never, ever learn Haki. But he wouldn't need to. Why? Because the tech that he would learn would be busted. Usopp doesn't have Armament or Conqueror's Haki yet. Another video, another day. Yet. However, let's say he never got those 2 Haki types, and he just has this sniper-like observation Haki. Can Usopp still gain success in the world of One Piece? Absolutely. Especially if he has some nasty tech to utilize. Nami can gain some really damn good tech stuff in this arc right now. And the root of tech strength, I think, has been established way back when. So let's do this refresher course on why tech is so damn powerful. And it all starts with our good old boy, Frankie. At the time, of course, Cuddy Flam, the best iteration of Frankie. In the pre-time skip during the Water 7 arc, one of the best arcs in One Piece, undoubtedly. Remember how Frankie could fight against Luffy 1v1? Frankie, the first true cyborg. He really had Luffy tripped up back then when he had the flamethrower breath. Then he dives into the water. Wait, hold on, how is that possible? He's able to swim. I thought he had different power. No. And then he comes out of the water. He does the strong right chain punch on Luffy. Then afterwards, they continue on for a period of time. And then when Luffy has to deal with the Galila Company, what does Frankie do? He does the nasty coup d'etat. Yo, that was some nasty business, without a doubt. That first coup d'etat in chapter 338. That was some really damn dope stuff. And then, of course, later on, we see in that same arc, Water 7, that Frankie was actually the first person to overwhelm, or damn near overwhelm, Blue Nose Tech Kai, his iron body, where Luffy, I think even Zoro couldn't do that when they had to deal with Kaku, Blue Nose, and Lucci in Iceberg's room. And then later on, in Enies lobby, we see Frankie actually beat Fukuro one-on-one. And mind you, no power-ups, not a single power-up. Luffy got a power-up, so did Zoro, so did Sanji. Frankie comes in there as he is, and he just gets that flat-out W against Fukuro of CP9. And then we can jump all the way from that point in time to recently, and of course, Wano Country, where this man Frankie beats Sasaki, one of the higher echelon Tobiropo, without any major power-ups of the entirety of the post-time skip, with just the Iron Pirate Frankie Shogun. Frankie beats him really clean. Arguably even cleaner than Jinbei beat Who's Who. It is, I think, probably the cleanest W out of all the W's that we see the Straw Hats have in Wano Country. He handled business, upside down laser beam, end of story. That is impressive. That's very impressive, because we know for damn sure after this arc, Frankie's gonna get even more powerful. That is absolutely happening. But then, moving away from our good old boy Frankie, when you look at other events that showcase just how powerful Tech is, a key event is when the Straw Hats deal with the first pacifista in Shabondi Archipelago. Through all the trials and tribulations that the Straw Hats had to go through for the entirety of the pre-time skip up until that point, including the madness that we saw in Thriller Bark, we had to go fight against Oars Luffy, and how tough that was, on top of fighting against Gecko Moria in this crazy final Shadows Asgard form. And then after all of that, Bartholomew Kuma. They had to go through a world of pain against one pacifista. One. Yo, that first fight against that first pacifista was tough. It required a Sanji, Zoro, Luffy combo attack to finally get the job done. And mind you, Brooke and Frankie and Nami and Robin, they were still part of that fight, but it was ultimately those three lads that had to get the job done. And they were all gassed against one pacifista. And those same pacifista gave the Marines a big leg up during Marineford War. So obviously pre-time skip stuff, but back then it was pretty clear that Tech was just as good, if not better, than a lot of the power systems and structures that Oda had established in the World of Peace at that point in time. Tech was just as good. Now again, in the post-time skip, we focus a lot more on Haki and Devil Fruits, clearly. However, when you take a look at some of the core foundation of some of the strongest people or groups in the World of One Piece, so for example, Germa 66, who can fight easily on par with senior officers of the Big Mom Pirates, or let's say Queen the Plague, who is a Yonko commander. The core and the foundation of what makes them strong is Tech. Yonko commanders are utilizing Tech as the foundation of their abilities. And then we have the PXs, boom, Seraphim, disgustingly powerful. PX Boa and PX Mihawk so far. And we know during the entire Amazon Lily War, they took virtually no damage. PX Mihawk even cuts the main mountain structure of Amazon Lily. Caught BB, Mr. All Day, Every Day, 24/7, 365. Blackbeard, my boy. Whoa, had a block. Whoa, who are you? Whoa, this kid right here is stranger danger. Whoa, that's just the tip of the icebergs when it comes to the PX Seraphim. Because now we have in this latest chapter One Piece, PX Seraphim Bartholomew Kuma. How good are they? We're soon gonna find out. We even know that Helmeppo, albeit because he's worried about Kobe, but he states that Vegapunk has these PX Seraphim, and we can use these PX Seraphim to try and save Kobe from Blackbeard and actually go to Blackbeard's main base, Full of Lead Island. That is a claim to just how powerful these PX Seraphim are. And how are these PX Seraphim created? Tech. It's all tech. Yo, there's a good chance that these PX Seraphim don't have Devil Fruits in the same way as some of their main bodies. So PX Kuma doesn't have Kuma's ability, or PX Boa doesn't have Boa's ability. So then how would Vegapunk supplement for that lack of power? You outfit them with the most absurd technology possible. And to a degree, some of this tech can even mimic Devil Fruits. And one of the amazing things about this whole aspect, like with the German kids, is that they can utilize their abilities without having to worry about certain drawbacks, like not being able to swim. The very thing that caught Luffy off guard about Frankie when they first fought in Water 7. Tech is very powerful in the world of One Piece. I would argue at times it can be just as good as Haki or Devil Fruits. Now, to be fair, I still believe that a lot of the folks in the top 10 strongest characters in the world of One Piece, they just so happen to not utilize technology to be as strong as they are. Particularly, I would say someone like Shanks, who I think is the strongest guy on the planet right now, is, I think, just an overwhelming Haki monster on so many fronts. And the main character, Monkey D's Luffy, is only a Haki monster, but also a Devil Fruit phenom, a Devil Fruit god, like literally. However, keep in mind that it's very likely, at least when it comes to Pluton and maybe even Uranus, ancient weapons that probably do exceed the destructive capability of someone like Luffy, or maybe even Shanks, are tech-based creations. Of course, not confirmed, but Pluton is a ship that Frankie shoved the blueprints to at least, and so he could actually make Pluton if he so choose to. But if not, Pluton itself in Wano country should still be a ship and should be able to destroy countries just like that. And given Rob Lucci's words about how Vegapunk ties into what happened with the Lulusia Kingdom, then that would indicate very, very, very clearly that tech is the foundation of whatever Imu and the Gorosei utilize to destroy the Lulusia Kingdom. That is another claim to the power of technology in the world of One Piece. So that all being said, tech is, I think, without a doubt, very, very strong. I think in many cases, it can be just as good as Haki or Devil Fruits. Honest to God, I do. And if you haven't done so yet, please do so now. Respect. RESPECT, respect tech in One Piece.